but I didn't, and I got rid of the van, and I'm regretting it ever since. He thought that he could go to bigger, he could get bigger, he could get better, he could get more luxurious. And what he bought is one of them. I regret selling my camper van. I admit it, I made a mistake. But those exact words, I regret selling my camper van, were actually uttered to me by somebody else. A friend, when I was actually on the golf course with them, they had a van and they sold it, and they've regretted it ever since. So I'm going to explain why today, why they regret it, and why also I regret it. And I am going to be completely honest with you as to the reasons why I sold it in the first place. I did do a video on it. You know, long-term viewers will know that I did a video a few months ago, why I'm selling my camper van. And I explained then a few of the reasons why. And essentially, at the time, I just kind of felt I had to. But I've made a mistake, and I definitely do regret it. So I'm going to explain why I sold it, and I'm also going to explain why I regret it. So if you're thinking about buying a camper van, or you're thinking about selling yours, then this actually might be of interest to you, and it might make you think, why did I do it? I don't know why I did it. But at the time, I had a van. So I had a T6, which was a 65 plate. So it wasn't a new van. It was about 10 years old. Well, 10 years old. And I have a day job. And in my day job, generally dressed in a suit and visiting kind of clients and things like that. So driving around in a van, first of all, I did try and hide it from a few people because it just wasn't kind of professional, you know, as other people are driving around in nice cars and things like that. I was driving around in a van. So probably not really suitable, also I thought. Although a few people did think it was quite cool, did turn up at a few clients. Some people had actually seen the YouTube channel. And as far as the YouTube channel is concerned, it isn't something which I publicise. You know, I don't tell people. The friend, which I'll talk to you in a moment, he originally didn't know that I had a campervan channel, because I do keep it quiet. It's kind of just one of those things where it's not important that people know, friends know about having a YouTube channel, because it doesn't actually benefit you. You know, people watching my videos, I want people to be watching the videos who are interested in vans, because it's not necessarily going to help me grow if people are watching golf videos and football videos 1 minute and then watching me the next. Anyway, that's kind of another story. Now, my van, kind of getting to 10 years old, there were a few things which had kind of happened to it, which I did put right. The intercooler went whilst I was driving over to Weymouth one day. You could start seeing that the puffs of black smoke coming out the back, so the intercooler was gone. Obviously I had to have it tested to figure out that, but I kind of knew what the smoke meant. So that was a big bill. And then there's been other bills. Suspension, I think it's made of chocolate, the standard suspension. So I had a few springs and things like that, and there were just kind of bills which kind of kept mounting up. The van was off the road and this, that and the other, and it, as far as my day job's concerned, I just needed a car. So at the time, like I've mentioned before, my health isn't great. I've decided I'm not going to be going into that, but there are reasons, and through one thing and another, not kind of rushing into things, basically, I decided that, look, I've got to get rid of the van, get in a car, and I bought this car. Well, I didn't buy this car. This is a company car. It's an ID7. Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. Probably the best car which I've ever had. I genuinely, really, really love this car. Brilliant. Full electric. I loved it. But should I have bought the ID Buzz? I'll come on to that in a little while. So yeah, it needed a car, a bit more comfort, needed kind of an automatic, partly due to the health side of things, that I just kind of wanted to go for an automatic. So at the time I decided that the van had to go. But it was a quick decision, and it's something which I should have thought through more, rather than it being kind of a spur of the moment thing. A few of the things were the fact that the kids are growing up. So the kids are now 14 and 15. So it's kind of a funny age, because they're too old to really, you are going away this weekend with us, because they've got their own friends. They've got their own, friends and circles, and they do their own things and things like that. And you can't deny them of that, because they are children which are growing up. But then the other side of things is they're too young to be leaving them on their own. So it's not as if like we could go away for a weekend in the van or a night away in the van or anything like that and kind of leave them at home, and we couldn't force them to come with us. So it's kind of that funny age at the moment where weekend trips away just kind of weren't what they were. Brilliant when they were young children. Yeah, let's go for the beach, let's do this, and we're going to go here today and it's going to be dead fun. Yeah, it's not as easy these days. I mean, teenagers, getting them out of bed in the first place, yeah, it's not exactly easy. So yeah, these things were just mounting up, and it was just a case of, look, we're not using it as a camper van anymore. It isn't being used for that. So take the car, get rid of the van, do a few things around the house, which I'd kind of not been done for a while, which I've kind of needed to do. I mean, for instance, I've got a hole in the roof, and I thought the bucket had fixed that, but yeah, my wife doesn't seem to agree with that. So I need to get roof repair done and stuff like that. So there were just kind of like things which just needed to be done, and the money from selling the van had kind of benefited from. But kind of the main part of it is like, I did fancy a newer van, and then that kind of would have been the kind of the work problem, because I wouldn't have had a van, but it had been newer, it'd have been more modern. So that might have worked, but I couldn't do it at that particular time. So kind of the plan is I am going to be taking out other people's vans, which hopefully I still will be able to get away with weekends away every now and again. So there's a Vanworks van which I intend on getting my hands on very soon. The California Ocean, as far as the Volkswagen's concerned. There's the bespoke PHEV plug-in hybrid, whatever you want to call it. They've got their van. There's a few others which I am going to be taking out, testing them out, and kind of getting to grips with how they work and how they'd be suitable and things. And it's that plug-in hybrid which I personally feel in the future may be the van for me, but we'll find out once I've driven them all. But I sold the van, or I got rid of the van. It disappeared, no longer in my possession, and I've got this car, and I absolutely love the car. But I have encountered situations where this just isn't what the van was, and I'll show you. Let's go and have a look. So this is the space which you've got in the car, and it's a big estate. It's the ID7, but it's not a van, is it? So this is about the seating position which you're going to have in the car, which is an estate. It's not like you can sit in the back of the van where you've got the roof over you and things like that. You can't put a table and chairs in here. You can't sit down and have a picnic here. I have got my coffee machine, thankfully. Still got my coffee machine, with it being nice and small. I can just pop it in this side pocket in my roof straps, which I'll come on to in a moment. But it just isn't the same as a van. You can't be carrying around that fridge, the freezer, which I had, the portable fridge freezer. It hasn't got an inbuilt kitchen. Obviously, I can stick my Kodak in here, but it isn't the same. With the camper van, with the van, everything is there. How am I going to use a portable toilet here? I'm just not going to use it. A van isn't a car. And at first, I hadn't really thought it through. Like I say, my mind was just kind of like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do it. And I was panicked. And yeah, I probably should have thought it through better. Well, I actually should have thought it through better. But I didn't, and I got rid of the van, and I'm regretting it ever since. So we went to the beach, and when you go to the beach in the van, you've got everything there. You've got your change robes. Obviously, I've still got the change robes here, but you're in the van, you can get changed in the back of the van. You're kind of warm and toasty. You're away from the elements, but you can't do that in the car. You have to do it outside. You've not got the shower facilities, which you've got in a camper van. When you're getting in the car afterwards, whereas when you're getting in the van, you've got your sand and things like that, which you shower and you can get it all off. In the car, it's different. It's just more carpeted and more plush and more premium, and you're more conscious of, I don't want to get that there, and I don't want to get that there. And eating in the car is not the same as eating in a van. It's just not a van. And I have encountered other situations as well, like golf. So when I'm playing golf, no problem at all. In the van, I can stick 4 golf clubs in here, 4 trolleys, and just crack on, no problem at all. I did go playing golf and got 4 people in here with clubs, and it was like Tetris or whatever you call it, just trying to, make sure that all the clubs fitted in, and then putting 4 adults in there as well. There was no room at all for trolleys. We had no chance of having trolleys in there as well, but in the van it was much easier. But talking about golf, so yeah, like I said, this friend has no idea, or had no idea, that I had a campervan channel until somebody else told him. So hence he decided to bring up the subject. And he said that he had a van and he regretted selling it. I regret selling my campervan. He thought that he could go to bigger, he could get bigger, he could get better, he could get more luxurious. And what he bought is one of them, a caravan. He bought a caravan because he thought that that would be the way of doing it. So absolutely fantastic. Nothing against caravans myself. I love caravans, had caravans. Again, absolutely perfect for the children as they were growing up. So he bought one, but he got fed up of towing it everywhere. So he didn't want to keep towing it around everywhere. So he got rid of the van and then used a car to tow it. But then he had that problem of when he was kind of put the caravan on a pitch and then went driving around to different beaches and places, he didn't have that van which he'd experienced before. So he didn't realise that his base camp, which was essentially his van, he could pull up at a beach and get changed in there and eat his food in there and cook hot drinks and toilet if there was no toilets on the sites and things like that. He removed all that luxury by going for a car and what he thought was going luxury. And it just didn't work for him. So what did he do? He sighted the caravan at a particular site. Fine, that's exactly what I did. Trewin's, a site down in Cornwall, St. Izzy, absolutely loved it. Brilliant time around there. Had access to all those 7 bays. Perfect, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But he also decided that because that was just situated on site, he thought, what's the point of having a caravan? So he then decided against having the caravan as well, and decided that he was just going to stay in statics in different places. But again, he then had that problem where he was staying for 7 nights at one particular place, and all he was essentially doing is going away for weeks' holidays. So he was only going away once, twice, maybe a year. He'd removed that adventure. He had that luxury, but he removed the adventure, that ability to be able to go to different places every night, different weekends away, visiting different places. He loved the fact that, he could go to a static, but it was 3, 4 or 7 days and it was fully luxury, but essentially you might as well be staying in a hotel. So it didn't work for him and he regrets selling it and he wants to buy another one. He's gone that full circle, and it's kind of where I am now. Like, why did I sell my van? Like, I absolutely love this car. But should he have bought an ID Buzz? Was that where I went wrong? Now, I test drove and I did 1,000 miles in one, I think it was April, early part of this year, and I loved it. I absolutely loved the vehicle, really did. And that's why I ended up getting the ID7, because I just loved the vehicle so much. The way it drove, the electric side of it was just brilliant. It just works. It's just so smooth and comfortable, and the technology, just absolutely loved it. With the ID Buzz, you also had the space. You had that big cargo area at the back. You could put in your kitchens and things like this. Basically, it was a van. Yes, okay, smaller than a transporter, but it was still a van. Now, I think I should have probably potentially held out, test drove the newer one, which has got the better range than the older one, because that's kind of what was the deciding factor why I didn't go for it. The fact that the range wouldn't essentially have suited me. 90% of the time it probably would, but for that 10%, it would probably have been a bit of a pain. But could I have got over that bit of a pain just for 10% of the journeys? Like, as far as this is concerned, I've only really had to charge it away from home the once, well, apart from once when I actually forgot to put it on charge overnight, and I did have to charge away. But when I went to Birmingham for the NEC show in October, I had to charge. Not for long because the range is very good, but I've done Bristol Airport and back from where we are, so that's, I don't know, maybe 240 miles or something like that. You know, it's got a good range, but the ID Buzz doesn't have that range, and that was why I didn't go for it. But maybe I should have held my nerve and maybe thought about it a bit more. Yes, I do regret that, especially when now I'm seeing a lot of people are buying, a lot of friends are buying their ID Buzz, and they're absolutely loving it. So maybe I went wrong there. So if I'd have bought the Buzz, or if I'd have got the Buzz as far as a company vehicle is concerned, then I would still have had that van, so I still would have been able to, you know, take the paddleboard down to the beach, you know, go for paddleboards early in the morning and things like that, go for those morning swims and then jump in the van afterwards, because it isn't the same in a car. I can assure you it is not the same in a car. And I mentioned the straps, stitches and steel straps. I've had these for many years now, great straps. It's Christmas and I needed a Christmas tree. So I went to the centre, the garden centre, to go and get a Christmas tree like I've done for many years. But because I didn't have the van, I couldn't just chuck it in the back like I could with a van. I had to put the roof bars on the car and put the straps on. You know, it's just a simple thing. It's not a hardship, but it was just a point where I missed it. But the main point where it really hit me over these last few weeks was when our fridge freezer went. Typical, isn't it? Just before Christmas that a large appliance goes. So yeah, so I needed a new fridge freezer. So normally you just go to the shop, you can pick one up and you can put it in the van and come away. Not when you've got a car. Yeah, okay, I've got an estate, but you're not meant to lie fridge freezers down, are you? So I couldn't actually do that. So I needed to order one online. Whereas I could have actually gone that very day, picked one up from the local Currys, Beacon Electrical, or wherever it was going to be. But no, I couldn't. I had to actually order one. So why am I telling you all this? Well, because I don't want you to make the same mistake. I don't want you to regret selling your van thinking that that luxury car might be the way forward. Or perhaps if you haven't got a van, whether you're thinking, should I really get a van? Yes, absolutely, because a van is absolutely brilliant. And if I could turn back time a few months, then I would definitely 100% have made a different choice. I love the car, absolutely love it, but I really miss the van. And I think the ID Buzz should probably have been the one which I'd gone for. Now there are others. There's the Kia, is it the PV5, is it? Horrible looking vehicle. I really don't like the look of it. Might grow on me. I think I know somebody who's getting one of them soon, so I'm going to actually have a look at that to see if that could make a possible kind of passenger carrying vehicle kind of stroke camper. So maybe like the California, because it's not really a full 4-berth, is it, the California? So I'm going to be looking at that as well in the future. That, again, that is full electric. But don't think that a van is just a camper van. But this kind of goes back to the small van camper van, 70 grand camper versus a 70 grand motorhome. All the vans are different and they all suit different purposes. Now that kind of smaller compact van, I think it was probably what I should have stuck with. But I am going to address it. I am going to change the situation. So as few of you might have known, I've spoken to Steve at Cooler Commercials. He's been on the channel a few times and we've got a few videos planned out, including a questions and answers where we answer some of your questions, but not just me reading out some questions. He is going to go through lots of statements, comments, things like that, which you have said in previous videos. And he's going to be bringing them up to me without letting me know beforehand and hitting me with them. This is what your subscribers, this is what your followers have said. What do you think to that? So yeah, so that's going to be an interesting video in itself. But one of them is going to be talking about how difficult it is to find vans at the moment. So he's been looking for kind of some project vans, some kind of things which we can do. But he keeps saying to me, Steve, there is so many bad vans out there. Like, we cannot be buying, you know, some of these vans. They are so poor. There are a lot of bad vans. So he's going to be talking to me about that, pointing out what you should be looking for when you are looking for a van. We're not going to be looking at just brand new vans. We're looking kind of across the kind of piece, across the price range. So probably transporters are probably about 10 grand, but then we're going to be looking, I mean, he's still got his Citroen, or he might still have his Citroen for £1,000. But we're looking at all these various different options as to what vans we can buy just so we can get out. Because like I said before, it doesn't really matter what you drive. Yeah, so I say, as I've just been moaning for the last half an hour about my car, as far as the van's concerned, like, we can still be going to those same beaches. We can still be, you know, seeing the beautiful sunshine, which we've got out today. You know, it's an absolutely beautiful day today. You know, whatever you drive, however much that van costs, we can still do it. Okay, you know, some might be more reliable than others. Some might have more toys and gadgets and better facilities than others. But essentially, it is about kind of being out there, isn't it? You know, and being out here today in this beautiful weather. It is a little bit chilly. I've even got jeans on. Me with jeans on. Don't often wear jeans. But yeah, we've got lots of things planned. So we are going to be showing you the buying process of a van, what you should look for, what you should be thinking about. We're also going to be looking at different options for actually making that van your camper van. So starting off with a panel van, you know, put some windows in it. We can talk about a little bit about the insulation. We can talk a little bit about electrics. Do you need a pop top? Or could you potentially just be getting away with, you know, just keeping the hard top? Maybe getting an awning for expanding sideways. You know, what are you going to cook on? How are you going to keep your food and drink cold? We've got lots of different things which we're going to be talking about. And that is on the smaller end. We're not going to be talking about the brand new vans. Don't worry, I will still be talking about brand new vans though, because I am going to be going to the NEC show. I have already booked my hotel. I'm really, really excited about that. So the way it's looking at the moment is I'm going to be spending 3 days there, because I've got a bit of a habit of talking. Yeah, I don't tend to film too much because I just stop and start talking to people at various different stands. I'm talking to some of you guys when you stop me and talk, and I absolutely love it. I love talking to you guys. So I'll be there for 3 days. So if I want to stop and chat, I can stop and chat. I don't have to worry about what I've filmed or what I've not filmed, because the amount of regret I've had when I've come away from a show and thought, oh, I didn't film that. I didn't see these. I didn't see them. We could have just talked. Well, to be honest with you, if I don't film it, I don't film it. If I have a nice time by chatting to people and sharing experiences with you, then so be it. And I also had one of the comments, which I will mention, is a guy called Pete. So Pete, thank you for your comment, who mentioned about gadgets, potentially the best gadgets for under £30 or something similar. I'll go back before I do the video. But I've already put a few bits of thought into that. And again, I'm not going to do that on my own. I've got a plan of what I'm going to do. So that video is coming very soon, just to kind of help you out with some of the things. And every now and again I think, that's under 30 quid. That would be a perfect thing. That's what something should have. So yeah, so 2026, there's going to be loads of amazing videos. There is lots of variety coming up in 2026. So if you haven't subscribed already, then please do so. And if you haven't seen any of my previous videos on amazing camper vans, then you can have a look at those here. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.